Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Uh, Welcome to week 15 of your elective course, Advertising and Promotional Strategies. For week 15, I'll be talking to you about the idea of integrated marketing communication or integrated marketing communications, IMC. This connects with two handouts that I shared with you through the Google Classroom during week 14, which is the previous week, and you were required to review or read them prior to listening to or watching this online lecture. So, if I take you to the course outline for week 14, uh, here it says integrated marketing communication. I have shared a handout titled The Consumer and the Shopper Are Two Different People. The author's name is mentioned. Also, the second handout that I have shared with you is concerning promotional strategies other than advertising, including personal selling, public relations, sales promotion, and direct response or direct marketing. And I'll be explaining to you the link of these promotional strategies with advertising. Uh, for week 16, which is the next week, I'll be sharing another handout regarding EFU insurance and some of the other materials. So I'll explain that during the next week. Also, as you will know, week 15 is your assignment submission deadline as mentioned in the course handout. So the date for that is August the 6th, 2020. So now coming to the handouts that I'll be reviewing during this lecture. The first one that I'll be looking at is titled Integrated Marketing Communication, linking advertising with other promotional tools or strategies. A copy of this handout has been shared. The second handout that I'll be reviewing during my presentation is this one, Understanding Integrated Marketing Communication. The consumer and the shopper are two different people, written by Meryl Andrew for Dawn Publications, Karachi. Uh, And while I'm reviewing this handout, linking advertising with other promotional tools, I will also be moving back and forth between the previous handout and this document that you see in front of you. I will share a copy of this during week 15 on the Google Classroom as well. So this blue background handout connects with or links with this main handout which was shared with you during the previous week. So this handout tries to tell us about what is integrated marketing communications, what is the idea of IMC, what are two of its important dimensions, and then it tries to link integrated marketing communications through the concept of connecting the five major promotional strategies, that is advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, uh, public relations, and direct marketing or direct response marketing. So if you look at this handout, it starts with the definition or the meaning of IMC. So it says that IMC refers to a marketing strategy that aims to integrate or link together all the promotion strategies of a business so that they work in harmony and create promotion synergies. Now, what does it mean? It basically means that any organization, any company, when it comes to promotion or promoting its products or promoting itself, the company or organization has a number of options. And these options are usually expressed in the form of promotional strategies. Traditionally, there have been five promotional strategies, and I have mentioned these during the initial weeks of our course uh, while I was explaining advertising. So the five traditional promotional strategies, as I mentioned, advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, public relations, and direct marketing. Now, what IMC means is that it is a strategy, it's a business strategy, it's a marketing strategy whereby a company or organization tries to integrate or combine these different strategies uh, um, in such a way that it sends out an integrated or a singular message or a single focused message to the target audience. In other words, what we are trying to suggest here is that if, for example, a company is trying to promote its products using advertising as well as sales promotion as well as personal selling, so it will be important that there is a singularity of purpose. There is uh, uh, a commonality amongst these three different promotion strategies, so that when the audience or the target consumer receives the message, he is not confused or she is not confused in terms of that the same company, while promoting the product through television advertising, is giving me one message, but when I go to a shop or retail outlet and I'm looking at the product, uh, uh, the same product, the message or the promotional message is different. So if that is the case, whereby a company is saying one thing or one kind, it is giving one kind of message through its advertising, but it is giving another kind of message using other platforms, for example, through personal selling or through sales promotion, we will say that the promotional strategy or communication strategy of the organization is not integrated. So IMC is focusing on integration so that harmony is created in terms of the message conveyed. Now, the second part of this handout, the second paragraph, it mentions those promotion strategies I just talked about. Why is it important to have IMC as an important concern? Well, one very logical reason for why IMC has become increasingly important for organizations or businesses or companies is that uh, as we speak today, any consumer has access to multiple sources of information. He or she can be reached in so many different ways using mobile phone devices, digital media, uh, traditional media. Uh, uh, there is an information overload as far as a common consumer is concerned, and then it becomes a very crucial challenge for any company, any organization, how they ensure that they are able to break through this clutter or this crowded uh, media space. If you recall my lecture on media planning and buying, I'm also referring to the concept of crowded media. So within this very crowded space where you have multiple messages coming in from multiple sources, it is very difficult for companies to, uh, grab the attention of the audience. To further complicate this, if a company already is struggling to grab the attention of an audience, and in the process, it is also not sending a singular focused message to the audience using different ways and means, obviously this will also create confusion in the mind of the consumer. So integrated marketing communication tries to overcome this fundamental problem, whereby within this very crowded media or within very crowded space, information overload, how to bring in a singular message from different directions and focus on the same consumer. I will give you this very simple example. If, let's say, a news organization is trying to give you a wrong piece of information or some information which is not true or not factual, one very easy way for it to convince you that their information is true is that if, for example, you are watching one channel and they are saying that a blast, for example, took place in a certain part of the city, and you move to the next channel and they are saying the same thing, and after the you move to the third television channel and they are saying the same thing, obviously once you hear the same kind of message from one news channel, the next news channel, and the other third news channel, whether it is true that the blast took place or not will become irrelevant. For you, it will be true, or the information will become a factual information. Reason being that three different sources are giving you the same information, three different channels are. And then if you go to, for example, Facebook or social media, and there you see the same kind of images or same information is provided on the social media as well, obviously that information, that news becomes a fact or reality, regardless of whether the blast actually happened or not. So the same principle is applied in integrated marketing communication, whereby using different promotional strategies, you give out the same or send out the same message to the target audience. Now, moving to the next part of this handout, here it says that IMC aims to focus on two key components. There are two major dimensions to IMC. The first one is all promotional strategies should support each other and create a singular message for a more long-term impact on the target audience. So this is something I have already mentioned, that whatever you say through your advertising promotional strategies, you should be saying the same thing. If your target audience is the same, you should be saying the same thing or same message should be conveyed through other promotional strategies. Second part of this uh, two components, that is all promotion strategies should be linked together with other marketing strategies, including distribution, pricing, and promotional strategies. Now, this is very important, that IMC does not only mean that all the promotional strategies like advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, etc., should be interconnected or integrated. IMC also means that the promotional strategies, whether advertising combined with sales promotion, combined with public relation, if a company is using these promotional strategies, these should also be aligned with or integrated with other marketing strategies like, for example, distribution, for example, pricing, or for example, product strategies. For instance, if today uh, a company, for example, Nestle, it announces that their apple juice will be sold for a price of less than, it will be sold for a price which is less than 5 rupees. For what it means is, for example, if the original price of the apple juice is 170 rupees, and the company now announces that they have reduced the price from 170 to 165 rupees, and you are watching this ad on television or on social media, so this means that they are promoting the product based on a price reduction. Now, it is very important that when this message reaches you through the social media or through television or any other medium, by that time the retailer should have the Nestle product available for 165 as well. It cannot be that the advertising or the promotional message is saying that the price of the product has been reduced by rupees 5, that it has come from 170, it has reduced and it has come down to 165. But when a shopkeeper, or sorry, a shopper or a buyer or a consumer enters a shop, actual shop or a retail outlet, and he picks up a product, the same apple juice, it needs to be 165. It cannot be 170 or more, because if there is lack of integration between what the promotional message is saying and what the distribution dimension of the marketing mix is about, this will create a huge problem for the company and its products. So that is why IMC also includes integration of promotional strategies with other marketing strategies like distribution, like pricing, etc. Moving further, the handout talks about linking advertising with different promotional strategies. So, for example, the first one is personal selling. If you recall, I had mentioned that in terms of promotional budgets and the amount of effort and time that companies spend on promotions, uh, traditionally advertising has received greater attention of different business organizations, followed by advertising. The second most important or uh, uh, second important dimension of promotional strategies which has received great attention after advertising is personal selling. I must point out that when we talk about advertising, within advertising, the digital advertising component uh, is witnessing greater focus compared to the traditional forms of advertising, and this is something I have discussed during some of my previous lectures as well. So when it comes to personal selling, which is the second most important or widely used promotional strategy after advertising, the first thing we need to understand is what is personal selling and what are some of its main types. Once we do that, then I will try to link up or connect personal selling with advertising. Remember why we are connecting or trying to link advertising with personal selling, or why I'm trying to link advertising with sales promotion? Because the topic for this lecture is integrated marketing communication. So, what is personal selling? It is face to face contact between the marketer and prospective customer that intends to create and repeat sales. So if you look at this definition, it's very simple and straightforward. You can find such definitions in any marketing book also, but there are some important points to remember. First, uh, personal selling is characterized by face-to-face interaction between the marketer or the salesperson and the potential customer. For example, any meeting between an insurance agent and a potential customer, whereby the insurance agent is trying to sell an insurance policy. So the insurance agent might visit the office of a bank employee, or he might visit a clinic where a doctor, medical associated professional is working, and he might try to sell his insurance policy. So this face-to-face interaction is the key dimension of personal selling. Now remember, in advertising, the difference is that advertising is not characterized by face-to-face interaction. Over there is the role of media. So the company reaches its target audience using a media. Here in personal selling, no media is involved. So this is very important to remember. Secondly, the second very important dimension is the last part of this definition, which says that this is a strategy which intends to create and repeat sales. So personal selling is it has a clear objective in terms of selling a product or repeating the sale of a product. In the case of advertising, please remember that advertising has a broader focus. It not only focuses on the sale of a product, but it can also focus on a number of other dimensions. For example, simply creating awareness about a product, or for example, simply informing the target audience about different features or attributes of a product or the benefits of the product. Uh, uh, so what I'm trying to say is that advertising has a broader focus, while personal selling is specifically focused on generating or creating sales or repeating sales. Now, there are three broad categories or types of personal selling. The first one is field sales. The second one is retail selling, and the third one is door-to-door selling. Now, field sales, as I gave you the example of the insurance agent. So what it says is that these are the sales calls at the place of business by a field representative. So for example, if an insurance agent visits an office or a professional place, a business place, a place where business takes place, where someone is working, for example, on a particular position or designation. So such kind of meetings between a salesperson and a potential customer at a professional location or an office, these are called field sales. Second category is the retail selling. Now, what is retail selling? Now, this involves face-to-face interaction between the company's representative or salesperson and a retailer. So, for example, if uh, Walls ice cream, if the vehicle which is carrying Walls ice cream, let's suppose it brings in the ice cream in a truck or vehicle, and it is going to drop this ice cream at a particular retail or shop. So along with the driver, there might be a staff member from Walls with some kind of documents or register or computer or tablet or mobile phone. So he will enter the retail outlet and he will have a face-to-face interaction with the shop's owner or shop's manager, whereby he might try to promote or sell some of the new ice cream items that Walls has offered. So this kind of interaction where the company's representative, that is Walls Ice Cream's representative, has an interaction or meeting with the shop's owner or shop's manager, and in the process, he's trying to sell some products or trying to, uh, get orders for new products from the shop owner or shopkeeper. This is called retail selling. And the third one is door-to-door selling. What it means is that although it's not very common, at least in our part of the country, this is whereby a salesperson knocks at the door of any citizen or any consumer. So if a salesperson comes at your door and he or she is trying to promote or sell a product, this is called door-to-door selling. So that's why it is written here that these are the sales calls by a representative who goes to consumers' homes. So again, this is different from field sales. Field sales is where the salesperson goes to the office or professional location of a target customer, while door-to-door is focused on home-based selling. Uh, so with this uh, basic knowledge of personal selling, now I go back to the link between advertising and personal selling, which is this one. So here it says that marketing communication works as a partner with sales programs to develop leads. Lead generation is a common objective for trade promotion and advertising. Uh, Now, uh, here, what is important to understand is that advertising and personal selling can be connected with each other, or they can be integrated together through this concept of lead development. So what is lead? Lead means the identification of potential customers or prospects. Now, here the example of Nintendo's Wii is given. Nintendo's Wii is now an old product. It has been in the market for many years now. Uh, so when Nintendo Wii was launched initially, it was characterized by a hands-free format of play, whereby you did not require a device or jockey or a controller to play the Nintendo game. So when Nintendo Wii was launched, because of this unique aspect of the product of hands-free play, where the uh, device had the capability to trace or track the movement of the player, rather than the player using a controller to play the game. So when this product was launched, Nintendo was a bit apprehensive in terms of whether the market will accept this innovative product or not, because players were used to the format of games characterized by the controller-based games. So in order to penetrate the market, they combine advertising with sales, personal selling, using the concept of leads. Now, what it means is that uh, Nintendo placed its Wii product in some specific big stores in the United States and Europe, and over there they created special counters where this product was available during its initial launch time. uh, uh, so this was in-store advertising, whereby they had displays, they had banners of Nintendo Wii. There was a Nintendo Wii product placed there, and any shopper who is walking by, they can test out the product or they can check out the product. They can even play and get a sense of how this product works. It creates this created sort of a personal experience as far as the shopper is concerned. So by allowing the consumers or potential consumers or customers this ability to use the product and also interact over there, when you are reading the banner which says Nintendo Wii, this is advertising, but also in the process you are also physically experiencing the product, and then a representative or salesperson of the company is also standing there with his uniform and the banner Nintendo or Nintendo Wii written on his shirt or on his cap, and he's wearing all these gadgets, and he's also interacting with the children or the parents or whoever the shoppers are, and he's explaining different features of the product and so on and so forth. So this is where this personal selling element, the face-to-face interaction, was combined with advertising, and this resulted in generating potential customers, because using this interaction between the Nintendo's representative and the potential customer, these representatives of the company were able to generate leads and then influence customers towards buying Nintendo Wii or trying Nintendo Wii as a product. So this is just an example of how advertising and personal selling can be linked. What are some of the major differences between personal selling and advertising? One, I have already explained that it is characterized by face-to-face interaction, I mean personal selling. Second, I have already mentioned that the focus of personal selling is on selling the product only. In advertising, it is not just selling. You can also have other purposes or other objectives of advertising as well. And finally, third difference is also important, that personal selling is characterized by intrusiveness. By intrusiveness, it means that because it is characterized by face-to-face interaction, there is a greater disturbance or uh, penetration of the target consumer's privacy. So the privacy of the target customer is compromised, because um, he or she cannot necessarily avoid the salesperson. In the case of television advertising or digital advertising or radio advertising or print advertising, you have the choice to change the channel, or you have the choice to change the website or go to another page. If you don't want to read something, you can skip it, you can ignore it. So that is why we say that advertising is not very inclusive. Uh, Compared to personal selling, whereby the salesperson comes face to face in front of the potential customer, and this creates a compromise as far as privacy of the customer or consumer is concerned. Okay, moving further, next is the focus on sales promotion. This is the third promotion strategy as mentioned here. So first, what is sales promotion and what are some of its main types? So let me take you back to this handout. So what is the concept of sales promotion? Increasing the value of a product or brand by offering any extra or an extra incentive to purchase it. This is called sales promotion. Now, as far as the definition is concerned, it says that sales promotion attempts to increase the value or the benefit of a product. Now, what does it mean? Uh, it means that as far as a product is concerned, there are two dimensions to its value. One is that let's suppose if you're going to buy a piece of crockery, for example, a dinner set, and the dinner set is, let's say, the price is rupees 25, shopper, and on the package or packaging of the dinner set, it says rupees 25,000, 2,500, and then there's a cross mark on this, and below that it says save rupees 200. New price is mentioned, which is rupees 2,300. So in this case, the value of the product has increased as far as the consumer's perception is concerned. Why? Because you are not only going to get a dinner set, but you are also going to save 200 rupees. So this combination of getting the dinner set while saving 200 rupees, this is called increased value or increased benefit of the product. Similarly, another dimension to this increased value is that let's suppose this dinner set is available for rupees 2,500, and in the process the shopkeeper is saying that if you buy this dinner set from me for rupees 2,500, I am going to give you a pair of uh, glasses, for example, for drinking water, uh, two glasses for free. This is again increasing the value of the product. Why? Because while you are spending 2,500 rupees on the dinner set, in the process you are going to get two extra pieces or units of glasses for drinking water. So in this way, sales promotion has two dimensions. One is that it tries to increase the value of the product or perceived value or benefit of the product in the mind of the consumer by reducing the price, or it tries to create this perception in the mind of the consumer that the benefit has enhanced or increased by offering some extra quantity or more of the product. So this is called sales promotion. And again, like personal selling, sales promotion is also supposed to focus on uh, generating sales. So again, it has a focus on selling the product. And sales promotion, one of the main focus is that it tries to generate immediate sales. This is very important. That sales promotion's main objective is to create an urgency on the part of the consumer to purchase the product. So when it comes to immediate or fast sales, sales promotion is a technique employed by different companies and retailers and shopkeepers also. What are some of its three types? The three types which are given here are consumer promotions, trade promotions, and sales force promotion. Consumer promotions are one specific type of sales promotion which is focused on consumers of a product. For example, common consumers. So, for example, if you go to a shop and there it says buy one get second product 50% off. This is a consumer promotion because the shopkeeper or the company is trying to sell its product by offering a sales promotion or an incentive. What is trade promotion? The second one, the target of trade promotions are the business customers. So, for example, instead of offering price reduction or extra quantity to the common consumer, the company offers this price reduction or extra quantity to the shopkeeper, for example, or the business customer. This is called trade promotion. So, for example, getting back to this example of Wall's ice cream, if the salesperson from Wall's ice cream, he tells the shop owner or shopkeeper or shop manager that okay, if you place an order from me for this month for ice creams rupee or worth rupees 20,000. If your order is for rupees 20,000 at least, okay, I'm going to give you one pack of Cornetto ice cream that has, for example, a carton of Cornetto ice cream which has, for example, 30 ice cream bars or Cornetto ice creams. I will give these to you for free. So this is called trade promotion, whereby and the Wall's representative is encouraging the shopkeeper to place an order for 20,000, and in exchange, he's offering him at extra or increased value by giving him one carton of Cornetto ice cream for free. So this is trade promotions. And the last one is sales force promotions. Sales force promotions are also a technique used by companies, but these are targeting their sales teams or salespersons or sales staff. What it means is that, for example, if a company has a sales team, for example, let's assume Dalda. Dalda is a manufacturer of cooking oil. So they have their sales staff, field staff, which is working in the field, promoting and selling their Dalda cooking oil. So if they have an incentive for the sales team that okay, if you achieve a target of sales, for example, for this month, and you sell you bring in orders for rupees 50,000, or you bring in orders to the company worth rupees 1 lakh for this month, we are going to give you a bonus or an extra compensation or a prize money. So this is called sales promotion. So Salesforce is being offered an incentive that if they achieve a certain target of sales, they will be given some extra benefit in terms of more money or some prize or some reward or some recognition or some bonus or commission. These are examples of Salesforce promotion. So with this now, let me take you back to this handout. Here it says, how do we link advertising and sales promotion? So here it says advertising is used as a tool to execute a sales promotion strategy or scheme. So what it means is that uh, uh, within advertising, for example, if you are watching an ad for a product on television, you might see an example where the television or digital ad of the product is designed in such a way that within the advertisement or ad, the company is offering you an incentive. So, for example, if you watch the ad of Pepsi, and in the ad they are saying that we are offering Pepsi at a reduced price, whereby you will save 10 rupees on a 2-liter bottle. So this is how you combine advertising and sales promotion together. Similarly, here the example of KFC Value Deal. What Value Deal means is that some of these fast food restaurants and chains, they also go for combination of advertising and sales promotion. So for example, if you enter a KFC, or for example a McDonald's or any such fast food chain or restaurant, inside the restaurant you might see the concept of value deal. By value deal, it means, for example, that there will be a display on the counter or behind the counter, where it will say that if you purchase a burger from us along with large pack of French fries, the drinks will be free. So such concept is called value deals, and this is again the display of the message, the visual printed message on the counter or behind the counter inside the retail outlet. This is advertising, and when you look at the advertising, it is going for the strategy of sales promotion, where it is offering you an incentive. What is the difference between sales promotion and advertising? The main difference is only one, which is that sales promotion is focused on creating action. What do I mean by action? Action means that sales promotion is focused on generating immediate sales. It is focused on generating this action on behalf of the customer, that they should purchase the product immediately. That is why most of these first sales promotions are designed in such a way that they promote the product by using such words as limited time offer, or this offer is valid for only 2 days, or they urge the customer to go for an immediate decision by telling him that there is very limited time. If you miss this opportunity, you will miss out on a major benefit, or you will miss out on extra value. So that is why sales promotion is more focused on creating action in terms of immediate purchase of the product. Moving further, it says linking advertising with public relations. This is the third, besides advertising, this is the third strategy. So for example, after advertising, I talked about personal selling, then I talked about sales promotion. So this is the third one. Now, what is public relations and what are some of its types? This is going to be the first part of this section of the presentation. So let me take you back to this handout again. Public relations. What is the concept? Public relations are the management function that establishes and maintains mutually beneficial relationships between an organization and the publics on whom its success or failure depends. Now, very simply put, public relations is a promotional strategy which focuses on building and maintaining relationships between an organization and its publics. Now, this is very important because here I did not use the word customer or consumer. I used the word publics. So by publics, what we mean, it is provided here. Public refers to all the groups of people with which a company organization interacts. These include employees, members, customers, local communities, stakeholders, other institutions, and society at large. So publics is a very broad term. It not only includes your customers and consumers, but it also includes any kind of stakeholders, any kind of individuals or organizations with which a company or organization may have some kind of relationship. For example, let's say, let's look at the example of an educational institution like IM Sciences. So what or who can be some of the publics of IM Sciences? So our direct customers are obviously the students who are acquiring education at the Institute of Management Sciences. But besides these, there are some very important stakeholders that IM Sciences has to cater to. These include the students' parents. These include the government. The provincial government is also a public for us. The different non-profit organizations, different international agencies, different donors, different corporate sector organizations. For example, if the representative of Pakistan State Oil or PSO, he visits Sciences and delivers a seminar to the students, he is also our public. Similarly, people who live in the vicinity of IM Sciences, for example, different residents of Phase 7 Hyderabad, where IM Sciences is located, especially the area surrounding IM Sciences, those people who live in their houses near IM Sciences, they are also the publics. So similarly, media is our public because it has a stake, and many others. So these are some of the examples of public. So public relations is a promotional strategy which is focusing on building relationships. Again, it has no focus on selling a product. It has no focus on immediate action. It is simply focused on creating and building relationships between the organization and its publics at large. What are some of the major types of public relations? So some of the major types include media relations, employee relations, financial relations, public affairs and lobbying, recruitment, and fundraising. So media relations is that part, as you can see from this, whereby an organization attempts to maintain good relationships with media organizations. By media organizations, we mean journalists, we mean different kinds of news organizations, different kinds of other media outlets, and so on and so forth. Employee relations means that an organization also treats its employees as publics because they also have a stake in the organization. So, for example, those organizations which have a focus on employee relations, they have very good communication strategy. They they are very inclusive. They make sure that the employees feel that they are part of the organization, that they are being involved in the decision making, that their interests are being protected, and so on and so forth. So, in such organizations, there's a lot of focus on communication with the employees, making sure that all segments of employees, all layers of the hierarchy of an organization, they are kept informed and updated about what is happening, and their interests are protected, and this impression is given out to the employees that the organization is looking after them. Similarly, financial relations, they're here. Any organization which has a focus on financial relations, it will have a strong relationship with institutions like banks and other lending organizations as well. Similarly, public affairs and lobbying, this connects with an organization, trying to build linkages or relationships with politicians, with people in power, people who are decision makers. For example, let's say there's a technology company which is, producing a software or computer software or mobile phone software. So it is important that they have good connections with the relevant science and technology ministry, or they have good connections with telecom authority, Pakistan Telecom Authority, or any relevant organization, so within the government and other. So these are part of the public affairs and lobbying. Similarly, in the non-profit organizations, there are, for example, international agencies like the UNDP, like the World Bank, like the USAID. These are organizations which focus a lot on public affairs and lobbying because they have to work with governments of third world countries. So they need to make sure that they have very good relations with the bureaucracy inside such countries and the government, such as, for example, the prime minister or the president or the chief secretary. So these are some examples of public relations and lobbying. Similarly, recruitment, what it means is that any organization which has a strong focus on HR, human resources, and human resource management, they would also like to have good connections with different kinds of recruitment agencies. They would like to have good connections or relationships with organizations which can provide them with good quality or top class human resources. So such kind of public relations come under the concept of recruitment. And lastly, fundraising. This fundraising connects with the non-profit organizations, especially this has not much of a connection with other types. So for example, non-profit organizations, because they do not have any product to sell, they operate by generating funds. So in order to generate funds or donations, the non-profits have to have a very good relations with donors. So, for example, if you look at the example of Shaukat Khana Memorial Trust Hospital, because it's a non-profit organization, it has to have a very, very strong emphasis on public relations, whereby it will have relationships with donors, it will have relationships with corporations, it will have relationships with big multinationals, it will try to maintain good relations with government. And the idea is that they want to generate funds. And similarly, they would like to have very good relations with the common public who are, for example, blood donors who provide blood or other, donations. So fundraising connects with that kind of public relations. Okay, so now getting back to this, uh, here it says, uh, what is the relationship between advertising and public relations? Advertising can be used by a company to execute a public relations strategy. So any public service message, and if you remember, public service advertising or public service message is a type of advertising, and I had explained this to you during the first week of our course. So if you look back at the topic types of advertising, there's a handout that I had shared with you. So one specific type of advertising is called public service advertising or public service messaging. So companies which use a combination of advertising in such a way that in their advertisement they give a public service message. For example, if WAPTA uh, 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 creates an ad where they are informing the public to save electricity by adopting good practices. For example, making sure that any tube light or any bulb which is not being used is switched off. For example, making sure that the air conditioner is kept at 26 degrees centigrade while in operation. So they are telling you that these are some of the ways through which you can save electricity. So if WAPDA has created such an ad where it is promoting a message which is of benefit to the common public, so this is called a combination of public relations and advertising. What is the difference between advertising and public relations? There are uh, three major differences. The first one is a long-term focus on image building. So public relations, as I mentioned, it focuses on building a relationship. It focuses on creating a long-term good impression or image of the organization. Advertising does not necessarily have such kind of objectives. So that is the first difference. Second, public relations has a focus on bigger audience. As I mentioned, the concept of publics not only includes your customers or consumers, but other stakeholders. That is why the second difference is that the scope of public relations is much wider because it focuses upon a much larger target audience group. And the last one is lesser media control. What it means is that when you are going to be dealing with the public, especially if, for example, talking about media relations, which is a type of public relations, when it comes to an organization interacting with the media sometimes can create a lot of problems for an organization because they don't want to be perceived as if they are being controlled. So as a result, sometimes public relations activities, public relations efforts, they backfire. For example, let's say a company like MobileLink has organized a concert for students, a musical concert, and uh, and they have organized this concert in association with the Independence Day, August 14th. And let's assume that this concert is taking place in Islamabad. And for example, 5,000 people are attending this concert or 1,000 people are attending this concert. So because it's a public relations event, they have invited some major news channels for coverage of this event so that in the process, MobileLink is promoted as a national organization which which is demonstrating its love for Pakistan. Now, in the process, when this event is happening, some mishap happens, some security situation is created, some kind of administrative or logistical problem is created, a crowd is in trouble or something else. And here, for example, you have a news reporter from, let's say, a television channel with his cameraman, and he records this event where this, a mishap is happening, some kind of problem is created, maybe the attendees of the concert are fighting each other or something else. Now here, instead of the positive publicity of this event and for Mobilink, it becomes a public relations nightmare or problem. So that's why it says here is that public relations has this potential risk that it is less possible to control what you are going to convey to the audience. In the case of advertising, whatever you want to say, you have that 1 minute. So the advertising agency and the company have already made sure that they have a 1 minute ad, so they will give you very specific information. No one can challenge you, no one can interfere in that message. So that's why advertising has a much greater control as far as the company is concerned. Moving to the last part of this handout, it says linking advertising with direct marketing or direct response marketing. So what is direct marketing? Let me take you back to this handout, the last part. Okay, let me highlight this. Make it okay. Hopefully this will be easier. So what is direct marketing? The business of selling products or services directly to public, for example, by mail order or telephone selling rather than through retailers. So direct marketing is a promotional strategy whereby you remove the middleman from the whole picture. So what it means is that um, the company tries to reach to the buyer or customer directly without the involvement of any distributor or retailer. And this is usually done through telephone calls and other different formats. Uh, the main advantage of direct marketing is that you can reach out to your customer directly, which means you have a direct control over selling the product. Obviously, the challenge is that it is not suitable for all kinds of organization. It depends on the nature of your business and the nature of your product. Uh, so, but it is different from personal selling in the sense that no salesperson is involved in terms of face-to-face interaction. So, in personal selling, if you recall, I had mentioned face-to-face interaction between the company representative and the potential customer. In direct marketing, there is direct interaction taking place, but it is not face to face. It is through telephone or through some other kind of medium, for example, email or SMS, etc. And again, you will be able to understand this better when I talk about the types. So, what are some of the major types of direct marketing? The first one is direct mail. It is not very common now, at least in Pakistan. In parts of Europe and America, it is still being practiced, whereby companies they send these post messages or through regular post or regular mail. They try to contact customers directly for selling their product. Telemarketing, again, this is a very common practice in different parts of the world, including Pakistan, whereby on television there are specific channels, television channels, which sell the product directly. For example, there might be a fitness product, and if you switch the channel, telemarketing channel, you will see that there's a presenter who is promoting this fitness product, and he's repeatedly telling you that to place your order, call us right now. Here is our number. It is being displayed on the screen. Call us right now. Call us right now. Talk to our salesperson. We will deliver this order directly to you. So this is called telemarketing, and this is one of the types of direct marketing. Next is email marketing, where a company directly sends out an email to the potential customer. Another example is the SMS marketing, where you receive these messages from different companies for promotions of the products. No middleman involved. There's no retailer involved, no distributor involved. There's leaflet marketing sometimes, in the sense that, again, the leaflets or brochures or pamphlets which are dropped at your home. For example, if a local restaurant is opened in your area and they are selling fast food or burgers, they might drop a brochure at your home. So this is again direct marketing. And then again, social media marketing. So different companies are using social media platforms, and thereby they try to interact with their customers directly and promote and sell their products. So no middlemen involved as such. They are using social media but the pages, the social media page of the company is being managed by the company itself or its representative. There's no middle party involved in terms of controlling or managing the page. So these are some common examples of direct marketing. So getting back to this, how is direct marketing related to advertising? So direct marketing is a form of advertising. For example, online promotions through social media. So if you go to the social media page of a company, and on that page you see an advertisement of a product of the same company. So this is a combination of advertising and direct marketing. Uh, there's one question which is mentioned here, is that is direct marketing taking over from other promotional strategies? Yes, because of, as I mentioned, there has been an increasing focus on digital advertising, digital marketing. So we can say that direct marketing or direct response marketing is also receiving greater attention. And its share in the promotional budgets of the companies or organizations around the world is increasing. What is the difference between direct marketing and traditional advertising? So, it says that there's greater focus on use of digital media. So, in the case of direct marketing, uh, you can say that it is focusing on digital advertising, or it has a focus on the use of digital media. While in traditional advertising, you are focusing on the use of television, radio, and print. So whenever you come across advertising where there is focus on uh, print, radio, television, this is traditional advertising. But if you look at advertising where companies are using the digital medium, the social media, their websites, and other platforms to directly reach out to their customers, this such kind of digital advertising is also called direct marketing. And that is why it says that such kind of direct marketing is focused on generating measurable response or actions directly by the company. So, for example, one of the strong points about digital advertising or digital marketing and direct marketing, etc., is that you can trace, using these digital technologies, you can trace who is coming to your website, how many people are visiting your page, how many people are liking your Facebook page, how many people are responding or commenting on a certain post. So that is why we say that it is measurable. Okay, so with this, I come to the end of the first part. The second part is focusing on this second handout, but this will be brief or relatively brief. The second handout is focusing on the concept of consumer and shopper, and it tries to tell us the idea of integrated marketing communication a little differently. This is based on an interview with Mr. Abbas Alam. He's on your screen right now. He, at the time when this interview took place, this has happened some years ago. So at that time, he was the chief strategy officer at Lau and Rauf. Lau and Rauf is a major advertising agency of Pakistan, and it is based in Karachi. So he, at the time of this interview, he was the chief strategy officer and also the head of the advertising agency's shop marketing division. And this interview he has given to a person named Marilu Andrew, who has written this article for Dawn Publications Aurora magazine. So the handout tries to tell us some aspects or understanding of integrated marketing communication using the concept of shopper marketing. Now, what does it mean? For example, at the very start, the writer of the article or the author, Mr. Marilu Andrew, is asking Mr. Abbas Alam some questions, and then you have his answers. So, for example, the first question is, what is shopper marketing and how is it different from in-store? Now, what is in-store marketing or in-store advertising? And then what is shopper marketing? These are the two terms that we have to differentiate. In-store or in-store advertising or in-store marketing is whenever you go and enter a shop or a store, you see any kind of uh, banner or poster which is mentioning a product's name, which has the picture of the product, etc., etc. or the price of the product. This is called in-store advertising. Uh, uh, but the author of the article is trying to tell us that while in-store advertising is a very common concept, uh, interestingly, another new concept has emerged, which is called shopper marketing. And this article is focusing on shopper marketing and trying to bridge or connect with this concept of integrated marketing communication. So, for example, uh, at the start, the Mr. Abbas Alam is telling the interviewer that in-store is used for marketing activities within the store and can be linked to trade marketing. So, for example, it includes banners or posters inside the shops. For example, if just as I mentioned earlier, if you look at the example of walls, if you enter a shop, you see a refrigerator or deep freezer. It says walls on it. It's red in color. There are pictures or images of different walls, ice creams. So this is in-store advertising. Uh, However, Mr. Abbas Alam goes on to say that recently the number of decisions made within the store has grown exponentially, and companies have realized that there's a difference between a person watching an ad and a person shopping at the store. So, what Mr. Abbas Alam is trying to suggest is that their research is telling them that it is not necessary that if you advertise a product using television or digital medium or radio or print, it is not necessary that this will also translate into sales of a product, or the customer will actually purchase the product as well. So based on this, they have realized that simply in-store advertising where you show the picture of a product or an image of the product or the brand name, even this is not enough. What it means is that in-store advertising of such kind is also not enough. Uh, that is why the concept of shopper marketing comes in. So what it means is that shopper marketing is focused on the buyer, the customer, while in-store advertising is focused on any consumer who is inside the shop. So for example, how do you make sure that if a customer enters a shop with the intention to purchase something, how do you make sure that by the time he comes out of the shop, he has actually purchased your product? So this is the focus of shopper marketing. Uh, and again, I will explain this a little later as well. So based on this, Mr. Abbas Alam suggests that the consumer and the shopper are two different people. And shopper marketing focuses on the buyers or the shoppers. It does not focus on consumers in general. Consumers are focused upon through in-store advertising. Uh, so, and also, he's talking about the influence in shopping decisions. So, a shopper is the person, a buyer is the person who has the influence, who has the final decision in terms of what to buy and what not to buy. So, for example, uh, uh, when it comes to uh, a cooking oil, uh, like dalda, as I mentioned earlier during my talk, the consumer of the cooking oil uh, is a housewife. But if it's the husband or the brother who goes to the shop, even though he is buying the product, but the influence in terms of which brand to buy or which product to buy, that is coming from the household, the housewife. So that is why it is very important that we try to understand the difference between a shopper and a consumer. Similarly, the example of children is given that sometimes children influence their parents inside shop, even though it's the parent who is paying for the product. For example, a toy, for example, some food item, but it's the child, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 6-year-old. He or she is the one who is, influencing the parent. So even though the buyer or the person who's paying is the parent, the influence is coming from the child. So that is why we are suggesting here that there can be a difference between the shopper and the buyer, the consumer. So what is shopper marketing? The definition is given here. It is defined as ensuring that the shopper chooses your brand as the key decision at the key decision making point. Key decision making point means the shop also known as the moment of truth, is called shopper marketing. So the main focus of shopper marketing is on that when inside the shop, when the time to decide what product to buy or not buy, when this time comes, making sure that the consumer picks your product, this is called shopper marketing. It is important to understand that shopper marketing is not only done in store, but it can also be extended to digital and ATL. ATL means this one. Let me show it to you. Highlight it. ATL means above the line marketing. Uh, Above the line marketing refers to the advertising or marketing through traditional media like television, radio, print, etc. Uh, Opposite to that is another term called below the line, BTL marketing or advertising. So BTL, below the line, is where a company uses the non-traditional means of promotion. So, for example, if a company organizes an event or a concert where it sponsors that event, its banner, its name is displayed on the stage where musicians are performing. So such kind of event-based marketing is called below the line promotion or below the line marketing or BTL advertising. Similarly, if a company distributes some kind of tickets for an event, and on the ticket the company's name is written beside the price of the ticket for some event, some show or some activity, this is also BTL advertising. You can read upon ATL and BTL further on the internet as well. Connected with that is also the concept of through the line TTL advertising. So you can read up on these three to understand them a little better. So all it is the author is saying here is that the shopper marketing is also used in digital and ATL format as well. Then the next question, which is asked by the interviewer, is shopper marketing needed in the traditional retail environment? The very brief answer is at the end. Yes, the interviewee, Mr. Abbas Alam, is agreeing that increasingly, even in the small shops or retail stores, not only the big stores, but even the small retail outlets or small stores, Karyana stores, shopper marketing is increasing. Shopper marketing is very important in the sense that it is advertising in such a way that you are convincing the consumer to purchase your product. So it is not just about the name of a product along with a slogan. It is also about giving a focused benefit to the customer so that he is influenced to purchase the product. Then the next question which is asked is, how long has Lao been working on shopper marketing? So this is again not important, but the interviewee is answering that it has been a year for them. What's more important is what he goes on to say is that our research has led us to the fact that people very often forget all the advertising they have seen and make a purchase decision based on what they see in the store. So again, he's emphasizing that it's not just advertising which can be used to promote a product, but more importantly, what happens inside the store and how a company manages the store environment and its product inside the store, how it promotes that product, how it integrates advertising through the regular media with the advertising inside the store. That is very important. Some of the other information is given. This question, why did Lau decide that it was a good time to do this? You can ignore this, it's not relevant. Uh, Next question is, what skill sets are needed in the shopper marketing division? So, for example, if any advertising agency or any company wants to focus on shopper marketing, Mr. Abbas Alam is of the view that they will need a lot of planning and research because these are the most important skills. He also goes on to say that to identify the main consumer segments, I mean, what he's trying to explain is that what kind of planning and the research will be needed. So he's saying that this planning and research has to deal with identifying the main consumer segments, mapping out each segment's path to purchase and barriers and so on and so forth. So some of the information is given. I mean, it's a lot of detail, so you can ignore some of the detailed points here. Another thing to remember, as pointed out by Mr. Abbas Alam, is the role of the retailer, the shopkeeper, because he's a major stakeholder. So, any company which wants to have a successful shopper marketing strategy by combining advertising with different other promotional strategies, they have to make sure that they keep the stake or the benefit of retailer in mind as well. Because if your retailer is not cooperating with you, if the retailer does not see any benefit, uh, obviously your shopper marketing activity or strategy will not be successful. Next question is shopper marketing more important for some categories than others? Some information is given. For example, it says that for foods and FMCG categories, consumers like getting a deal, so they will go to the store to see what is on offer. And again, so some of the information. So yes, for some categories, shopper marketing is more important compared to other product categories. Uh, Lastly, there are two more questions. Is shopper marketing in Pakistan made difficult because the retail trade is largely informal and unorganized? Yes, the answer is that Pakistan's retail market is very fragmented. There are very few uh, company-based retail stores. Mostly, these are Karyana or informal stores opened by small businessmen. So it's a very fragmented and unregulated market. So it becomes very challenging how a company can control so many thousands and thousands of retail stores when it comes to managing their shopper marketing strategy. So this is again a challenge in Pakistan. Um, and lastly, the question is the in-store environment changing as a result of shopper marketing? So Mr. Abbas Alam is of the view that brands have changed, have started focusing on one core benefit in store instead of giving emotional thematic messages. So this is a very important point, that instead of giving these generic messages that, like I mentioned, the name of the product and the general slogan, and what they are doing is they are giving out a specific benefit of the product inside the store, because they have to focus on uh, influencing the shopper to purchase the product. So, for example, here it connects with the concept of sales promotion. So, for example, if a company has placed its product inside the store and they have displayed very clearly or boldly that you will save 10 rupees on the purchase of this product, this is a special offer for you. This is an example of shopper marketing. Similarly, another example is given here, highlighted in green. For example, a washing powder brand will tell you the practical benefit it offers rather than repeating same tagline from the TV commercial. So inside the shop, you have to give very targeted, specific benefit of the product to influence the shopper to purchase your product. Similarly, companies which focus on shopper marketing also have an emphasis on shelf spacing, highlighted here. Shelf spacing means how you place your product in the shelves inside a shop, and they are also such companies have a focus on shelf branding. So shelf branding means that they make sure that when they place their product in the shelf inside the store, the name of the product is very clearly visible. The brand name is also clearly displayed. So this is called shelf branding. So companies which focus on shopper marketing, they give a lot of attention to shelf spacing, making sure that they, for example, shelf spacing refers to where will you place the product. So for example, any product which is inside the shop, which is placed at a high height away from the consumer, so there's less likely chance that this will be purchased. Similarly, if a product is placed in the bottom shelf, right next to the floor, there's high likelihood that such products sales will be low, or the frequency of sales will be low. Any product which is at the normal height, right in front of the face of the potential shopper, for example, 4 or 5 feet above the ground, such products will sell more. So this is what we mean by shelf spacing. Similarly, making sure that your product has adequate space inside the shop, that because of lack of space, it does not get ignored by the retailer or shopkeeper. So these are shelf spacing issues. And shelf branding, I explained earlier. So with this, I come to the end of my talk about integrated marketing communication and different dimensions of integrated marketing communication. Thank you very much for your time. I'll remain in touch, and week 16 lecture will be uploaded accordingly. Allah Hafiz.